You know what? I think I'm going to start this off with a question of the video. What would you do with Mitch Marner? And what do you think the best choices are for Mitch Marner? I'm going to get into this today. You know, whenever like they have a long break in the hockey world, the NHL world, you know it's going to open up some trade talk, signing talk. Like, for example, it's kind of the perfect time to make a trade right now, right? But for this video, I don't think I'm going to delve into that too much. I'm going to talk more about the Mitch Marner contract. Now, I think, as I've stayed consistent on this, that it's not that I don't want the Leafs to make a bold move. I'm generally completely fine with that. And in fact, I've been an advocate, if you've been following this channel for a while, I've been an advocate of them making some type of big move if they possibly could, right? Like, if you have a core that's constantly losing, you know, sometimes a shakeup might not actually be the worst thing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to work. You can make the wrong decision. But if there is a hockey trade out there, I already said that they should have moved Mitch Marner, you know, before. Like when they had a chance to. Essentially now, you have to remember, Mitch Marner has all the cards in his deck. Every single person that is pointing to Mikko Rantanen right now, they have completely different contracts, okay? Mikko Rantanen actually did not have a lot of trade protection at all. Mitch Marner is full no movement, so you can't do anything. So there's only a couple choices that you can make with him. Number one, you can try to work it out, a trade with him. And you can say, we're working out a trade to trade you here, but do you really think that's going to work out well with Mitch Marner? Like, we already know he can be a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a baby, but like, he definitely would not take that lightly. Number two, you could just re-sign him, right? And then number three, you could let him walk for nothing. Those are the options right now. There's nothing else. You can't say, well, submit your 10-team no trade list to us, because he has a full no movement clause. So those are the things. So for that question of video, of those three choices, give me which one that you guys would do. For me, I'm picking the best of a bad decision right now. The best of a bad decision. I would just re-sign him. Okay, I would pinch my nose and I would just do it, because at least you're getting a superstar winger back. You know, I understand that people are going to grit their teeth at that. I fully respect that. There's a lot of people that are going to roll their eyes at that, and they actually have a fair point. I'm not saying that my opinion is 100% correct. I'm just picking the best of a bad bunch of choices. You know, it's funny, I talk to my friends in real life and not internet life, and these guys act like no movement clauses and no trade clauses and all of these things. The cap doesn't even exist. We'll trade him for this player. I'm like, well, you have to do a bunch of cap gymnastics to do that. Anyways, long story short, this video is about that Elliotte Friedman came out with more information today that Mitch Marner, and from what he knows, that Mitch Marner and the Maple Leafs are not close to signing a contract right now. Obviously, logically speaking, that is not what I'm going to want to hear, right? Like, I want to hear that eventually they do sign. I would love Mitch Marner to finally have some success. And I understand that people are going to look at the Four Nations and they're going to roll their eyes, just a made-up tournament, which all tournaments are made up. But it doesn't have the history of the Olympics or the Stanley Cup. Those tournaments have a lot of history behind them, if you understand what I mean. So maybe in this tournament, he can play in a big game, maybe against the U.S., and maybe he steps up huge. Or Matthews, if you're not a Canadian fan, that would probably be pretty good. You know, I was reading a Toronto Star article earlier, and he was talking, the journalist was talking about how this actually might make sense for them to get some big game training. Because again, every Leaf fan that's listening to this right now will be able to pull out their hair, and they're not wrong about that. He just doesn't step up in big games. I know his point per game isn't that horrible when you compare it to the other guys, but it's more complex than that. You have to step up and make the big plays and be an impact player in the big games. And none of these players have done that. Nylander has been, I guess, kind of close to that, although I wouldn't call him a playoff performer. Some people say that. I kind of disagree with that, although he does score goals in the big games. Again, this report from Elliotte Friedman is not necessarily something that I'm happy with. I am advocating for them keeping Marner. I want to reiterate this, though. It's the best of a bunch of bad decisions. I'm not sitting here saying they should never have made a big trade. You know, if there was a Matthew Tkachuk Tkachuk for Mitch Marner out there, would I do it? Obviously, right? Of course I would do that. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk is so good. It's crazy that he plays in Florida. I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but he is so good. He's a scorer. He's a nasty player. He loves playing in the mud. He doesn't care. He'll check. He go to the front of that, and he's going to score 90 or 100 points in your face. Those are the type of guys that you win with. Now, when we start talking about contract, this is going to get a lot more complex, because everybody's saying the cap is going up. The cap is going up. Now we can re-sign Mitch Marner to that exact contract. Okay, but Mitch Marner is also going to look at the cap going up, and he's going to want a bigger number too. This is the thing. People, oh, the cap's going up. But like that actually makes things more complex, because now he's going to ask for more money, unfortunately. Here's the thing. I know what I'm going to say is going to blow some people's socks off, but the truth of the matter is that if he goes to free agency, there is a team that will pay him 14 on 7 years. To be fair, the Leafs are the only team that can give him 8 years, because if he goes to free agency, he only gets 7, and if he stays with the Leafs, he can get 8, unless there's some kind of trade, and then that team can give him 8. But the team that he's currently with right now can give him 8. The same thing that the Carolina Hurricanes are the only team that are going to be able to give Mikko Rantanen 8 years. Same thing. So that is leverage on the Maple Leafs side, where it's like, okay, you take 14 in a garbage franchise or something like that, we're going to give you the exact same amount of money over the long haul. What's the difference? I don't mind at least playing a little bit hardball here. Obviously, I don't necessarily want to piss the player off, but anyways, that's just my opinion on this entire situation. Like, I just, ultimately, I would keep him. I really hope he has a really good playoffs this year. Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.